All right, here we have a system of equations. Let me show you how to solve it using the substitution method. Substitution method, all you have to do is start by getting an isolated variable. We are trying to find what number for x and what number for y would make both of these true statements. Now there's really only going to be one combination of numbers that would work here. If I took away one of those equations though, you could have a bunch of different inputs and outputs that would work. But now we've got two, so there's really only going to be one combo of numbers that can work. So how do we find the value for x and the value for y? Step one, isolate a variable. What does that mean? It means get a variable all alone on one side of the equal sign. So I like to tell my students to look at each one of the terms. You got 2x, it's got a 2 as a coefficient, probably not the one I'm going to go with. Y is isolated in a sense. It doesn't have a coefficient other than 1, but it is negative, which means we'd have to get rid of that. X, see how x is just standing all alone by itself, all lonely out on an island? That right there is the one to isolate. That's going to be your quickest one to isolate, so let's get started. How do we get x to be the only thing on the left side of that equal sign? We have to move 4y over here. Use inverse operations to do that. Take 4y away. That's the opposite of adding 4y. That will remove it, and then we have to remove it over here as well. So we do whatever we do on the left side, we have to do the right side as well. I also tell my students draw a line down the middle just to separate your left and right. Now, as you see, all we have left is x. It is isolated. Sweet, we have done what we needed to do. Negative 4y, it's written down. These are not like terms, so you have to write them as two separate terms. And now what we have is an expression on the right side, an expression that is equal to x. Why is that so important? Because we have an x up here, and we can now change that x, because x is equal to all of this. I can just change that x to this information. Why do we want to do that? Let me show you that. So my students always put a box around the other side of the isolated variable. It helps them to really put it all in one space so they can see it. So this is just a tip. You don't have to do this, but this is what I tell my students. Do box the expression. Now take that expression, and in parentheses, you need to put it where the x is. You're going to replace the x with negative 4y minus 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to rewrite this top equation. 2 times x is now 2 times this expression that is equal to x. Negative 4y minus 20. And then I need to say minus y equals 23. What you now see is an equation that only has one variable in it. Why is that an important thing? Because when you have one variable, you're able to solve. So we've eliminated the x from this equation and replaced it with an expression that has a y in it. So notice that all I have in here are y's. Let's get started. Let's solve them. Distribute 2 times negative 4y, giving you negative 8y. 2 times negative 20, giving me negative 40. I still need to take another y away, and it's equal to 23. I can combine my like terms. That's a negative 8y and a negative y, which would make negative 9y minus 40 equals 23. Now I'm in a two-step equation essentially now, so I need to add 40, giving me negative 9y equals 23 plus 40, which is 63. Divide by negative 9, we're going to get a nice neat number here. Y is equal to, be careful, a positive divided by a negative. Don't be that algebra kid that always forgets the negatives. 63 divided by 9 is going to give me a 7. Hey, we now know what y is. Is that all we need to know? Nope. We need to also figure out what x is. But we got half of the problem answered. Now, the beauty of this is the last couple steps, quite simple actually. We just need to take negative 7. Remember, the whole idea was we need to get one variable. Can't have an x and a y and solve. In some way, we got to replace either the x or the y with something else. Well, we know what y is. So let's just replace any y we see with the negative 7. We could use the top equation or the bottom equation. It's really your choice. My personal opinion, this bottom equation would be pretty simple to solve if we just say x plus 4 times y. But wait, what is y again? We already got it. It's negative 7. No need to say 4y like they do here, because we now know what y is. equals negative 20. Again, we have an equation we can now solve. 4 times negative 7 is going to give you that negative 28. You still have your x here. It's equal to negative 20. And I just got to push that negative 28 over to the other side. Add 28, add 28. X is equal to 8. So when x is 8, y is negative 7, those two values, when plugged in here and here, will give you true statements for each equation. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.